Two giants collide tomorrow in the UEFA Champions League as Chelsea hosts FC Barcelona at Stamford Bridge. It doesn't get bigger than this as the world will be watching. Meeting between these two contains all the ingredients in a European classic. Does it still contain the ingredient we experienced in 2005 when both teams met in the knockout phase? Does it still contain the ingredient we experienced in 2006 when they met again in the knockout stage? Does it still contain the flair, the energy, the spark we experienced in 2009 when Chelsea was robbed in the biggest stage with what I describe as the worst officiating in European football? Does it still contain the spark, the energy, the flair, the action we saw in 2012 when Chelsea went on to lift the trophy? It's Chelsea versus FC Barcelona, one of the biggest rivalry in UEFA Champions League football. In this video, I'll preview the game between Chelsea versus FC Barcelona that will go down tomorrow in the UEFA Champions League. Old-time rivalry that has spanned over decades, and the last time they met was in 2018 in the knockout phase as FC Barcelona actually get past Chelsea in that particular encounter. So stay tuned as I take you through the preview between Chelsea Football Club versus FC Barcelona, as I bring you the team news of what Enzo Maresca said in his press conference, my predicted 11 and my score prediction going into this particular encounter. So stick around, let's dive into it as I bring you the preview between Chelsea versus FC Barcelona. Earlier today, Enzo Maresca had his press conference, and as usual, lots of journalists around and a couple of questions were asked. And one thing I so admire about Enzo Maresca when it comes to press conference is always focus, and his concentration is just on what he has come there and the questions to be asked. He always has a ready-made answers to them. So Enzo Maresca was asked about Cole Palmer availability against FC Barcelona, and here's what Enzo Maresca went on to say. Yeah, we don't know when, but for sure it will be soon. He's already on the pitch, touching the ball, and the feeling is good. Enzo Maresca is asked if Cole Palmer will return for Arsenal. We are here for tomorrow's game, and after that, we will see about Arsenal game. That was quite straightforward. You know, when Enzo Maresca was asked about Cole Palmer, because after it was reported that Cole Palmer had sustained an injury, that is, domestic accident per se, where he actually fractured his toe. The club has actually taken a proactive measure in order to get him a special boot that he can be using. And just like the manager said, that is what Cole Palmer is currently using. And like Enzo Maresca said, he's touching the ball around and the feeling is good. So we hope to see Cole Palmer back at his feet pretty soon. And Enzo Maresca was also asked if Cole Palmer will return for Arsenal clash. And the answer was simple. We are here for tomorrow's game. That is the clash against FC Barcelona. So after FC Barcelona, we will take it game at a time. And that is just the response Enzo Maresca was giving. Enzo Maresca, on the big week ahead, he was also asked about the big week ahead. And this is what Enzo Maresca said in his response. It's a big week, as you said. But at the end of this week, we have Leeds away, Bournemouth away, Atlanta away. So it's another big week. Every game is 3 points. Barcelona tomorrow and Arsenal on Sunday are important for different reasons. But it is important for us to go game by game. Absolutely. Just like the manager said, it's indeed a big week when he was asked. Because we have 3 games away from home. Leeds United, Bournemouth and Atlanta in the UEFA Champions League. And for this week alone, we are taking on FC Barcelona in the UEFA Champions League tomorrow. And on Sunday, the big Premier League clash against Arsenal. So it's game by game, just like the manager said. Enzo Maresca was asked about Enzo Fernandez's form. And here is what Enzo Maresca actually said. I have always thought he was a great player at the beginning. He was struggling to understand the role, but he is in an important place for us on the field. Basically, if there is one player that has been under scrutiny, serious scrutiny, in Chelsea Football Club, it has been Enzo Fernandez. And I must say that Enzo Fernandez currently deserves to be praised. So far, from last season till this season, goal and assist combined together. After Mohamed Salah, Enzo Fernandez is the next. And gradually, like the manager said, he struggled from the beginning. But currently, Enzo Fernandez is one player that Chelsea cannot do without mentioning in the starting 11. And that goes to tell you how improved Enzo Fernandez is at the moment. And just like the manager said, he is an important place for us in the field. Enzo Maresca was also asked about managing Barcelona. And here's what Enzo Maresca said in his response. You know me, because you are always in my press conference. Whenever you ask me what is happening in the future, I always talk about how I am happy to be here. And case closed. You ask him about the future, he tells you why he is happy to be at Chelsea Football Club at the moment. Enzo Maresca was asked about Lamine Yamal and Gustavo William comparison. And this is what Enzo Maresca went on to say. Gustavo is already playing at a high level. He is starting for Brazil. He is very young and for sure he can do many things better. We are very happy with him. It's nice for people who love football to watch Gustavo and Lamine Yamal and Pedri. This is the beauty of football. We are happy Gustavo is with us and hopefully he's going to do well. Absolutely. In my opinion, for now, that comparison doesn't have to be now. And I just love the response that Enzo Maresca is giving. Football these days is it's being run by the young talent we see all around. Lamine Yamal, Gustavo William, Pedri, and lots of them. And Enzo Maresca was actually spot on in his response. Gustavo William is so young, and at his very young age, is actually doing great stuff for the Brazil national team. He starts at the national team, and at the club level, we hope to see him replicate that starting place in Enzo Maresca's starting 11. So far, both lads are doing excellently well. Two different players completely. So, in my opinion, the comparison for now is needless. Let it get to the stage of CR7 and Lionel Messi, then we can start the comparison. But for now, the young lads are all doing great. Gustavo William is doing great stuff, both in Brazil national team and in Chelsea. And Lamine Yamal also doing great stuff with FC Barcelona and the Spanish national team. So, those young lads are actually good, doing great for their respective clubs and country. So, Enzo Maresca was asked about Lewandowski, how dangerous he is as a striker. And here is what Enzo Maresca said in his press conference. For sure, he's a fantastic player. He has shown all his life that he does the most important things in football, score goals. We are going to try and defend as a team, be aggressive, like we always defend. But they have so many players, Lamine Yamal, Fermin Lopez, Frankie de Jong, but we are going to try and win the game. End of quote. That is just what we want to hear. No doubt, Barcelona have lots of players. They have lots of talent in their squad. And they have dangerous up front. Lamine Yamal, talking about Lewandowski, talking about Rafinha, talking about Pedri, talking about Fermin Lopez. All of those players, they are doing great at FC Barcelona. But like Enzo Maresca said, all our focus, our goal is just to win the game. And that is just what we want to do tomorrow at Stamford Bridge. Win the game. That is just it. Enzo Maresca was also asked on Barcelona vulnerability in defense. And this is what Enzo have to say. The high line is a factor, for sure. But we also need to pay attention off the ball. They can create so many chances and score goals always. We need to find the right balance between attacking and defending. Absolutely. I never knew Barcelona is actually vulnerable when it comes to their defense line. I'm just hearing this. So, in as much as they're vulnerable at the defense line, like Enzo said, their high line is something else. They can create chances out of nothing and score lots of goals. So that will always cover for the lapses at the back. And that has always been a typical Barcelona right from time. Their defense line have not always been the best. Back in the days of Carles Puyol, when we have Carles Puyol, I've forgotten who partners Puyol. Then we have Dani Alves and also the left back, also I've forgotten. Then the midfield was just the iron gate where you have Xavi and Iniesta. And up front, you have Luis Suarez, Neymar, Lionel Messi, and co. That is how Barcelona have been setting up for a long time. From their midfield to their attack line up front are always very dangerous. Their defense line have not always been that good. So, It's very typical of Barcelona when they say there's vulnerability, they are vulnerable at the defense line. And I think what Enzo Maresca said is just the right thing. They can create so many chances and score goals always because they have the midfield and they also have the attack line. So, and all what we need to do is just to create a balance between attack and defense. So that we can actually get the better of FC Barcelona. Enzo Maresca on the progress since match day 1 after we lost that game to FC Bayern Munich at the Allianz Arena. So Enzo Maresca was asked about the progress of Chelsea so far, and this is what Enzo Maresca also responded. I think we are a better team since the day we played Bayern away. But every game is different. For me, personally, the team is getting better day after day. I think we've seen that several. We have seen that, on several occasions. In as much as I will still say that Chelsea have not gotten to that level where we will say we are now being consistent. Our inconsistency is still there. That is for sure. So far, the team is driving on a high. The team is flying on a high, getting the wins and getting all 3 points. Good for the club, good for the confidence of the players. That is just what we want to see. But then, we hope to see much more. And just like the manager said, we are getting better day after day. So, that was Enzo Maresca press conference he had earlier today. And when you talk about Chelsea team news, Chelsea team list, players available for tomorrow's encounter, like the manager have said, Kopama will still be missing in this particular encounter. Levi Colwill out with ACL, and also Romeo Lavia out injured, and Dario Sugo also out injured. Those are the players that will be missing for tomorrow's encounter. And having said that, for my predicted 11, Chelsea will be filing out in a traditional 4-2-3-1 formation, and this will be my predicted 11 against FC Barcelona in that crunch encounter tomorrow. In goal will be Robert Sanchez. The full back, I will go with Reece James at the right back and Marc Cucurella at the left back. The centre back pairing, it's definitely going to be tough. The centre back pairing, I will go with Trevor Chalobah and Wesley Fofana. The midfield pivot, I will go with Enzo Fernandez and Moses Caicedo. The 3 attacking midfield trio. The left wing, I will go with Alejandro Garnacho. The central attacking midfield, I will go with Joao Pedro. The right wing, I will go with Gustavo William. And up front will be Liam Delap. This will be my starting 11. In as much as the centre back pairing in our last game against Burnley in the Premier League, the combination of Trevor Chalobah and Tosin Adarabioyo was definitely good. But it's definitely going to be a difficult one for the manager to make that decision. But I think there's beginning to be this understanding between Trevor Chalobah and Wesley Fofana. We saw that in the game against Tottenham Hotspur, and we actually saw that in the Premier League game against Wolverhampton Wanderers. And both went on to keep a clean sheet. The same thing with Trev and Tosin. We saw a very good combination between both in the centre back before Reece James was taken off for Bernard Badiachile and Trev Chalobah went to play at the right back. So it's going to be a very... I just love what is going on currently so that the manager can feel the headache of making that selection. But like I said, the centre back pairing, I'll go with Trev and Wesley Fofana. The right back will be Reece James and the left back will be Marc Cucurella. The midfield pivot, I will go with Moses Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez. While the attacking midfield trio, Alejandro Garnacho have actually gotten a good rest after its wonderful performance against Wolverhampton Wanderers. And I think that was the more reason he was rested in the game against Burnley in order to start against FC Barcelona. So Alejandro Garnacho will take the left wing. Joao Pedro will still play as the attacking midfielder behind the striker. And this time, Pedro Neto had a very excellent game against Burnley in our last outing. But I think Gustavo William have actually gotten a good rest. And I'll start with Gustavo in that right wing. And up front will still be Liam Delap. So, who will be in your predicted 11 going into this game against FC Barcelona? Drop your thought down below. Predictions. This is where it's going to get dicey because it's a very big clash between FC Barcelona and Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. Meeting between these two have produced lots of drama in time past, believe me. dating back to 2005. Both FC Barcelona and Chelsea met in 2005 in the knockout stage in round of 16, and Chelsea knocked out Barcelona by 6-3 on goals aggregate. Chelsea and Barcelona met again in the knockout stage, round of 16 again, in 2006. FC Barcelona knocked out Chelsea 3-2 on aggregate. In 2006 again, precisely 2006-2007 league season, they met in the group stage, and Chelsea picked 4 points out of that particular game, defeating FC Barcelona 1-0 at Stamford Bridge and going to Camp Nou to play 2-2 draw. In 2009, one season I can never forget in a hurry. In 2009, Chelsea and FC Barcelona met again in the knockout stage. Chelsea traveled all the way first to Camp Nou, played a goalless draw against FC Barcelona. Coming down to Stamford Bridge, we played a 1-1 draw, and FC Barcelona qualified on away goal rules. But that was the game that I witnessed the worst officiating in the UEFA Champions League football. I have forgotten the name of that referee, whether it's Tom Ovrebo. I can't actually remember the referee's name. But that was the worst officiating of the night. Chelsea had almost 3 penalty calls in that particular encounter, but was denied by the center referee. I can actually still picture the chase, the energy Michael Ballack used to follow the referee. Didier Drogba was literally flinged inside the 18 box. No penalty was awarded. It was indeed a UEFA Champions League night, an unforgettable one. And that is why the clash between Chelsea and FC Barcelona have turned out to be a rivalry, one of the greatest rivalry in the UEFA Champions League. So, in 2009, Barcelona qualified ahead of Chelsea and went on to lift the trophy in 2009. The next time we met again was in 2012. In 2012, we met again in the semi-final of the UEFA Champions League. In Stamford Bridge, Chelsea defeated Barcelona by 1-0. Going all the way to Camp Nou, where we had lots of drama. Barcelona took an early lead in that particular encounter. And after Barcelona have gone up 1-0, John Terry actually picked a red card. We thought that night would have been the worst night of UEFA Champions League football for Chelsea. After John Terry red card, Barcelona went up 2-0. And Chelsea pulled one back almost at the end of the first half. Chelsea pulled one back through a scintillating pass from Frank Lampard to Ramirez, where Ramirez chipped it over Victor Valdez. What a beauty of a goal that was. Ramirez actually scored that night, put Chelsea back into the game, and at this point, it was 2-1 and 2-2 on aggregate. All through the night, Barcelona was with the ball at Camp Nou. They played Chelsea, if there's anything of such, I would say they played Chelsea, quarter field. They were inside Chelsea half, and they still divide the half into two. That was how attack-minded Barcelona was. They pressed on, but the defense line of Chelsea, very resilient, focus, never give up. That defense line was something else. Rock solid, even with the absence of John Terry. And in the late minute of that game, a loose ball found Fernando Torres, who picked the ball almost on the halfway line. Only him. Torres was alone, took the ball with his pace, ran Victor Valdez and slotted it into an empty net. Chelsea equalized 2-2. That night was indeed the night that Chelsea actually won the Champions League. It was a final before final in Camp Nou. Chelsea defeated FC Barcelona 3-2 on aggregate with 10 men. It was a football to the highest level. Chelsea players, they pour out their heart to play football. And en route to that, in 2012, Chelsea went to Allianz Arena after defeating Barcelona to also defeat FC Bayern Munich on penalty to lift the trophy in 2012. That was the first UEFA Champions League trophy Chelsea lifted in our history, defeating FC Barcelona in the semi-final and defeated FC Bayern Munich in the final. So, Going into this game is definitely going to be tough, but I ask a question. Are we still going to see that flare, that energy, that spark that the clash between these two have produced in time past? Drop your thoughts down below. So going into this game, Chelsea is one team that have actually risen to the occasion when it comes to the big stage. This season, we have seen that works time and time and again. Against Paris Saint-Germain in the Club World Cup final, Chelsea were written off, but we went on to defeat Paris Saint-Germain by 3-0. Against Liverpool, almost in the early start of this season, Chelsea defeated Liverpool by 2-1 in a big stage. Where Enzo Maresca actually got it wrong is where we needed to pick the win. That is where we always fall. That has been Chelsea's weakness this season. We needed to go away to defeat Manchester United. Chelsea went to Manchester United, they slump. Chelsea went to Brentford, we slump. At Stamford Bridge against Brighton, we slump. At Stamford Bridge against Sunderland, we also fall. But when it comes to the big stage, Chelsea have always risen to the big occasion. And tomorrow is not going to be different. So my prediction for this particular encounter, I see Chelsea defeating Barcelona by 2-1. What is your prediction going into this particular encounter? Drop your thoughts down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel, such that whenever I upload any video, you will be the first to see it. Thank you very much for watching, and catch you in my next video. Bye.